Thank you.
Thank you. We may all kindly have our microphone. I will be your MC for the next 3 days to guide us through the program flow. And so we are going to have our opening remarks. To launch our opening session, we are honored to be guided by a leader whose career has stitched together humanitarian, agency, and long horizon system building across 3 continents, Africa, Asia, and Latin America. With more than 25 years in development and humanitarian assistance, his work has been defined by a steadfast commitment to human rights, reproductive health, and poverty reduction. He has led UNFPA country offices through complex contexts, 3 years in Somalia and 5 in Palestine after serving as deputy representative for India and Bhutan. At the UNDP, Multi-Donor Trust Fund Office, as the senior portfolio manager, he managed the $700 million MDG Achievement Fund and helped design the UN's system for administering multi-dollar, multi-agency trust funds. He's also served as the UNFPA Resource Mobilization Specialist and Program Specialist for the Asia Pacific Division during the Indian Ocean tsunami crisis, and a lot that he has done. If we read his entire bio, we'll be here until sometime tomorrow. So ladies and gentlemen, without much further ado, help me welcome, put your hands together for Mr. Anders Thompson, the representative for UNFPA Kenya Country Office.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you to all of you for being here in beautiful Nairobi. I want to really skip the protocol. We are very good at protocol in Kenya, but I want to really warmly welcome all of you. I want to give gravitas to all of you in the room. We have we have 42 countries present here in Nairobi. We have 19 from Africa, 7 from Eastern Europe and Central Asia, 8 from Asia, 4 from Latin America, 4 from the Arab states. We have donor entities led by our friends from Canada, and we have a number of UN agencies here, all because we are going to discuss civil registration and vital statistics, which is so important. But mine is really just to say that we are extremely proud to be able to host this event in Nairobi. As you know, this is now our headquarters for our technical division. We'll hear from those colleagues later. So it gives me a lot of pleasure and honor to be able to stand here before you today just to simply welcome you. I will not get into the details of why we're here and my feelings about civil registration and vital statistics, because you all have emotions and ideas and knowledge about that. I will go past that, come back and round up, but I'll go straight to the program today to save time. So in the United Nations in Kenya, we are led by Dr. Stephen Jackson, our United Nations resident coordinator, and he has really made it an objective for the United Nations in Kenya to work together through our cooperation framework, but also by emphasizing joint work through joint programs. And I think today, working around a portfolio of work related to data, statistics, including vital statistics and registration, is a phenomenal example of how we as a UN family come together and partner with other development actors and our donors. So I have the great honor to invite Dr. Stephen Jackson to the podium. He has more than 30 years of experience in international development, peace building, and humanitarian affairs. He has spent probably the better half of his life in sub-Saharan Africa before coming to Kenya and serving well here. He was also the resident coordinator in Gabon, and he has been holding leadership positions in DPA and United Nations peacekeeping. He has a very, very long career behind him, so I will not go into all the details. I would like to invite you to put your hands together for a big round of applause as he comes to the podium. Stephen, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, my brother Anders. Better half of my life, certainly the most fulfilling half of my life here in Africa. Waheshimiwa na marafiki, hamjambo na karibuni Kenya, which means excellencies and friends, hello and welcome to Kenya. My goodness, that is impressive. 42 country delegations, every corner of the globe here in Kenya. That's fantastic. And Madam Moderator, you told us some important things about Kenya and Nairobi, but one thing you didn't mention is that this is the only place in the global south that is a United Nations global headquarters. It's one of the big four: New York, Geneva, Vienna, and Nairobi. And Nairobi and Kenya therefore coming to more and more importance in the multilateral system, as I think the world becomes more and more oriented to what we used to call the global south. So a real honor to welcome you here. Anders, like you, I share a bit of an aversion to protocol and also to our, what do we call a jargon? Langue de bois was the phrase in French for the interpreters. So CRVS, but yeah, civil registration, vital statistics. We are here because we share the aspiration to improve CRVS for women and girls. We're here to talk about the intersection between CRVS and gender. And we do that because of two reasons, I think. First of all, we know that in any walk of life, we cannot improve what we can't measure. And so in this broad sense, CRVS is certainly paramount for evidence-based policy-making, decision-making, in health, education, social welfare, you name it. So it's of value to all of us in that respect. It's a critical foundation enabling us to track progress, identify blockages, slowdowns, and ultimately, therefore, to help the countries we serve and love to progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals. So that's, if you like, about counting people. But what's much more important to me than counting people is making people count. Because we're here also not just to collect data for itself, but because, and you, Madam Moderator, you reminded us of this already, a birth certificate affirms rights and it enables rights. A birth cert gives a child access to healthcare and education. A death cert helps protect families through legal indemnity. I actually just want to digress for a second. Before coming to Kenya, I was resident coordinator in Gabon. Gabon is an upper middle income country. It has a pretty developed social security network because of its relative wealth. But what we found was that about 10% of people were left out of the social protection safety net in Gabon. Because why? Because they didn't have birth certs. And they were predominantly indigenous people and migrant laborers. And since they didn't have birth certs, they couldn't get national identity cards, which meant that they couldn't be part of the social insurance networks, health and education. So with consequences for the SDGs 3 and 4, and then lifelong for all of the other SDGs. So in a very real sense, CRVS, it's not just about counting people, it's about making people count. Every person deserves to be counted, to have their identity recognized. So it could be more critical then that we look at the intersection between CRVS and gender. Because right now, right across the world, in almost every corner represented in the room in front of me and online, the rights of women and girls are under attack. We're facing a major moment of horrific, horrifying rollback globally in gender norms and in gender rights and in gender justice. And by the way, that rollback is happening in some of the very countries that until very recently were at the forefront of advancing those rights and that justice and that inclusion. So the topic for our deliberations couldn't be more timely and is not just a dry statistical one, in case anybody in this room or online was under that illusion. I bet none of you were. The discussion is in fact at the centre of driving forward our shared determination to continue improving and enlarging the lives and rights and freedoms of women and girls here in Kenya, on the African continent, around the world. Now, just a word about Kenya. I really want to thank the government of Kenya and Mr. Director, through you, the Ministry of Interior, National Administration, for co-hosting this event. No single institution can achieve universal registration, and Kenya's example is a great reminder that inclusion requires inclusive teamwork and shared vision. Kenya has shown very strong leadership in CRVS by bringing together no fewer than 7 ministries to work as one team to make CRVS stronger and more effective here. So, hongera sana, congratulations. I really also want to appreciate the many development partners engaged in this campaign, this fight together, and helping to put this event together. I won't be able to mention all of you, I'm sure I'll forget some, but the World Bank, IDRC are here in force, Gates Foundation, SIF, Bloomberg Philanthropies, many of you from civil society around the world, from academia around the world, all of you in your different ways contributing to taking this thought forward. And then, of course, I have to thank the UN family, UNFPA, Anders, thank you so much, Julia, everybody who's here, UN Women, UNICEF, WHO, UNECA, UNESCAP, many others coming together, and thank you for your staunch commitment. So, together, you make it all possible to achieve this shared vision of how we can see how to better improve the relationship between CRVS, gender rights, gender inclusion, gender justice. And I really hope that the deliberations will lead to some striking recommendations as to how we can do better at this moment, as I say, of real fundamental challenge to the progress that the world has made, had made in advancing gender rights, reproductive rights, sexual rights. So, my best wishes for the deliberations. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And when I said he is the biggest cheerleader for what we do, you saw that expressed in his remarks. It's my great honor to now invite one of our development partners to the podium, Dr. Joshua Tapa, the Canadian High Commissioner to Kenya. Canada has been tremendously instrumental in making sure that this conference is taking place. They have sponsored and funded programs across the world in this space, and we are deeply grateful for the contributions of Canada. Dr. Joshua Taba is the High Commissioner of Canada for Kenya and Ambassador to Uganda and Somalia. He's also the permanent representative to UNEP and Habitat, and has previously been Ambassador to Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Sudan. I think what's striking from his CV that he has previously worked as the Global Affairs Canada Director for Global Health, which included a difficult time during the pandemic, where you led that important program in partnership with many others in the world. But as we speak about health, I think it's important to acknowledge and recognize how important that the civil registration and vital statistics are for advancing health goals, especially for women and for girls. So I would like to invite all of you to put your hands together to give a big round of applause for Dr. Joshua Taba, High Commissioner to Kenya.
Thank you, Anders. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour, caribou. Let me echo R.C. Jackson in welcoming everyone to this fantastic event, in particular our great colleagues from UNFPA, from IDRC, from other partner organizations. Honorable Secretary of the Registry, thank you for being here with us. Other officials from the Government of Kenya and other governments, special guests, experts, all protocols observed. It's a great honor for me to join you here today at this fourth CRVS and Gender Symposium, which is co-hosted by a number of, frankly, our closest allies. We are the partner group that is driving this forward. On behalf of the Government of Canada, I want to thank everyone for being here and for the partnership that has brought us together. This symposium continues a journey that began several years ago in Ottawa, where governments and partners came together around a shared conviction that every person must be counted and that every life event must matter. I was involved at the time. I remember in particular the second symposium that we held in Ottawa. It was in February. There was a snowstorm. Many delegates got to extend their stay in Ottawa because the airport was closed. And I know for some of the African delegates, you felt ill-prepared in terms of the winter clothing that you had with you. But I hope you remember that event fondly. It was a great discussion. I remember other discussions at UNGA. I remember in particular when we passed the baton from the Center of Excellence being housed at IDRC to moving to UNFPA. And I'm still grateful for UNFPA taking on that important leadership role. And so this event today brings me full circle in some sense back to an issue that I care deeply about. And I care deeply about it because, as we all know, millions of people around the world, and the majority of those are women and girls, remain unregistered and unrecognized. When births go unrecorded, when deaths and marriages are missing from the data, societies lose more than statistics. They lose the ability to protect rights, the ability to seize on opportunities, and frankly, they lose the ability to plan their institutions and their economies efficiently. Canada has long believed that strong CRVS systems are foundational to human rights, inclusion, and development. We are proud to have been a consistent supporter of CRVS, strengthening around the world, and our overall investment has grown steadily in recent years, now into the tens of millions of dollars. Through our partnerships with the Global Financing Facility and the then IDRC, now UNFPA Center of Excellence for CRVS systems, we've supported partnerships that have enabled countries to modernize registration systems, improve data quality, and design gender-responsive approaches that reach everyone. Too often we talk about CRVS as if it were only administrative or technical, but CRVS is inherently human, a system that records the important moments of our lives that are at the core of our societies. Strong CRVS systems depend on inclusive and non-discriminatory laws and coherent governance. Canada continues to encourage all governments and partners to build robust, accountable, and participatory systems that serve those who need it, and that is precisely those who are often structurally excluded. As the RC just noted, this work couldn't be more timely in the face of pushback against the rights and inclusion agenda. There is more work to do here. I'm excited that there's so much knowledge sharing between countries set to take place in this symposium. And in reviewing the agenda, I'm impressed by the progress that has been made on the inclusion agenda. This is a different agenda than it was 3 years ago, so congratulations, everyone. An effective CRVS system is by definition an inclusive one, and these generate the critical evidence that decision makers require, including understanding why people have been left out and what it takes to bring them in. Data is powerful, and it's increasingly recognized across industries as one of our most valuable commodities. So why are so many governments falling short when it comes to the most basic data set of all, who we are? When decision makers learn how CRVS helps reduce unintended pregnancies or improves maternal health services, precisely in discussions like this one, and that's why these are so important, this understanding often leads to action at a national and subnational level. Now, I recognize it is not just about political will, and some contexts are highly resource constrained or so complex that there are significant barriers to universal inclusion. We know in particular that in conflict-affected contexts, and these are well understood in this region, CRVS implementation is exceptionally challenging. And so I commend those of you working particularly in those for progress in those settings. So to finish up, through this symposium here in the beautiful city of Nairobi, we hope to advance two objectives. First, to reaffirm our shared commitment to universal, inclusive CRVS systems that advance gender equality and set the stage for respect of all rights. And second, to deepen collaboration between governments, civil society, the private sector, and development partners to identify practical, scalable solutions and the sustainable sources of funding that can enable those. CRVS systems ensure that everyone becomes visible, and visibility in this sense is power. Canada remains committed to working hand in hand with all partners to build CRVS systems that protect rights, strengthen societies, and ensure that no one misses out. Thank you again to all the co-hosts and to all of you here, whether in person or online. I wish you inspiring and enriching discussions over the coming days, ones that lead to action for those who need it most. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I really like those insightful comments and observations, and particularly the journey that you have been on through snowstorms and other such challenges. I'm sure it's definitely something people remember. I know we have a panel discussion. We have the government. There is some time constraints, but I would like to just invite my dear colleague, Julia Bunting, to come and make her remarks before we invite government to make their remarks. I'm particularly delighted to be able to invite Julia Bunting, our Director of Program Division, UNFPA, to the podium, because she is now here in Nairobi. She is here leading from the Global South all the technical work that we do as UNFPA, which was recognized by the previous speakers. So Julia has a long experience, always been working with great dedication to advance sexual and reproductive health and rights at a global scale. And she has also, before joining UNFPA, been the CEO of the Population Council and Director for Program and Technical Division at the IPPF International as well. She's also been with DFID and with development partners, so knows this work from many different perspectives. So I'm really pleased and happy to invite Julia to the podium. Please put your hands together to welcome Julia.
Thank you, Anders. Your Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, dear friends, online and in the room, all protocols observed. Good morning, bonjour, karibu. It's a great pleasure and honor to welcome you to the 4th Global CRVS and Gender Symposium on behalf of my colleagues in the UNFPA's Program Division, which is now, as Anders says, proudly based here in Nairobi, and also on behalf of our new Executive Director, Ms. Diene Kita, who sends her warm regards and best wishes to you all. UNFPA is proud to co-host this important gathering here in Nairobi, Kenya, alongside the Government of Kenya, the International Development Research Centre of Canada, the Global Financing Facility for Women, Children and Adolescents, the UN Economic Commission for Africa, and Open Data Watch. You don't need me to tell you that civil registration and vital statistics are the backbone of inclusive societies. They ensure that every person is recognized from birth to death through all life transitions, marriage, divorce, and beyond. Yet for millions of women and girls, these vital events remain unregistered, leaving them legally invisible, unable to claim their rights, and leaving our data incomplete. Today, we meet to confront these inequities and chart a path towards legal identity for all. But we do so, as others have said, at a challenging time. As my colleague Priscilla Idele, who among other things leads our work on data at UNFPA, says, we are witnessing a global data emergency. The 2020 round of population and housing censuses left almost 30% of the world's population uncounted. Key household survey programs have been defunded. Birth registration remains below 50% in many low and middle income countries, and only about 40% of the world's deaths are officially recognized. But legal identity is not just a statistic. It is a human right and a gateway to essential services, to health, to education, to social protection, and ultimately to justice. When women cannot register marriages, they risk losing inheritance rights and the custody of their children. When deaths go unrecorded, we lose vital data for improving maternal and health child programs. When girls lack birth certificates, their access to schooling and to social protection is obstructed. A holistic life course approach to CRVS and legal identity is essential for gender equality and for women's empowerment. UNFPA is honoured to host the Centre of Excellence for CRVS Systems, which provides thought leadership, generates evidence, convenes partners, as we're doing here today, and delivers technical support to countries around the world. We express our deep gratitude to the Government of Canada for establishing the Centre of Excellence at IDRC 10 years ago and entrusting now its continued growth to UNFPA. Hosting this year's symposium in Nairobi, which I noted earlier is now UNFPA's home for the Programme Division and other headquarters units, is especially significant. Kenya has long been a leader in digital innovation for identity systems while confronting the realities of inclusion and equity. By gathering the global community here in Nairobi, we affirm our shared commitment to legal identity for all, nationally and globally. This symposium will focus on 7 priority action areas: adopting a holistic life cycle approach to CRVS, strengthening the completeness and equity assessments, addressing social and gender norms, leveraging digitalization with safeguards, enhancing coordination and financing, promoting the use of CRVS data, and scaling evidence-based solutions. The road ahead will not be easy, but inaction is not an option, and the stakes are too high to delay. As we've said, CRVS is not just about data. It's about dignity, it's about rights, and it's about recognition. At UNFPA, we are accelerating our efforts towards a world that leaves no one behind, including through the addition of a new 4th outcome in our new strategic plan, which was just adopted by our executive board in New York just a few weeks ago. The new outcome is on population dynamics and demographic change, and is about supporting member states to adapt to demographic change so as to strengthen the resilience of their societies, both for current and for future generations, while upholding individual rights and choices. This new outcome complements our other outcomes on ending the unmet need for family planning, ending preventable maternal deaths, and eliminating gender-based violence and harmful practices. Strengthened and gender transformative CRVS systems are fundamental to achieving these 4 outcomes and ensuring that we leave no one behind. And our commitment to achieve these 4 outcomes will only succeed if we work together with governments, with partners, and with communities to ensure we make everybody count by counting everybody. I look forward to our discussions over the next 3 days and to taking forward the outcomes and the recommendations of these deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julia. Really inspiring to hear from our leadership of our technical and program division. So as we round up this opening session, and before we get to panel discussions and so on, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to invite the representative of the government of Kenya. In the last speaker in the opening session is Paul Wangemi, Secretary of Civil Registration Services. I know he's already coming up. You are welcome to join me. Please give him a round of applause. I was going to tell you that he has, of course, many, many years of experience in this field. He's one of our very, very dear colleagues, but you can introduce yourself, and please give him a very warm round of applause.
Thank you, my brother Thomas Anders. His Excellency Ambassador Joshua Taba, the Canadian High Commissioner to Kenya, Stephen Jackson, the UN Resident Coordinator Kenya, Ms. Julia Banting, Program Director, UNFPA Headquarters, Dr. Matase Kamal, Director of Global Health, IDCR, Madam Jennifer Bliss, Director, Data for Health, Bloomberg Philanthropies, all partners, UN agencies present, our donors and regional partners, all leaders present, all heads of directorates and government officials present from Kenya, and all other distinguished guests present. Good morning. Good morning again. Yeah, my name is Paul Mwangemi, the Secretary, Civil Registration Services Kenya, and I'm delighted to be with you this morning. But for this particular occasion, I'm not here as the Secretary, Civil Registration Services, but I am representing the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Interior and National Administration, who was supposed to be with us this morning, but due to unavoidable circumstances, he was not able to join us. But again, that one is actually not an issue. As a government representative, he has actually sent me here to give a very brief and short statement on his behalf. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, it is a honor and a privilege to join you all today in this beautiful city of Nairobi as we convene for this 4th Global Civil Registration and Vital Statistics and Gender Symposium on this 15th day of October 2025. Allow me to begin by welcoming you all to Kenya, and specifically Nairobi, which we regard as the beautiful city in the sun. As you are all aware, civil registration and vital statistics systems are essential for the efficient functioning of any country and the realization of SDG 16 and 17 by ensuring that every individual has a legal identity from birth and access to basic rights and services such as healthcare, education, and social security. Whereas this is true, civil registration and vital statistics systems globally are plagued by significant gender inequalities, particularly affecting women, girls, and marginalized populations. Gender inequalities in civil registration and vital statistics systems often result in the under-registration of births, marriages, death, and other lifetime events, which disproportionately affect women's access to essential services and their ability to exercise civil and political rights. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today, there is need to explore the intersections between gender and civil registration systems, identify key challenges, share best practices, and develop strategies to promote gender-responsive civil registration and vital statistics systems globally. I have no doubt that we have all the experts ranging from UN organizations, donor agencies, development partners, civil society, and academic institutions, which all have the capacity to create the required synergy in order for us to realize our objectives. As a country, this agenda is particularly important. We are a country with a young and diverse population. Ensuring that every birth, death, and vital event is registered and that this information is available, disaggregated, and used helps us plan better, target resources more effectively, and protect the rights of all citizens. Kenya is proud of the strides made so far in strengthening our civil registration and vital statistics systems, particularly with focus on gender. One of our key achievements is the regular production of the Kenya Vital Statistics Report. This report provides gender disaggregated data from our civil registration and vital statistics system and is a statement to our commitment to using data to support inclusive policy and planning. The government is also in the process of reforming the civil registration operations through automation of its processes. Currently, our customers are able to apply for services online through what we call the e-citizen platform and only visit our offices to collect their birth and death certificates. Soon, citizens will be able to access their birth and death certificates online through the e-citizen platform on application. This will ensure inclusivity, especially of people from marginalized and hard-to-reach areas in terms of service delivery. Ladies and gentlemen, our civil registration and vital statistics system is decentralized, which allows for more inclusive and responsive data collection across the country. A critical part to this success is our collaboration with the Ministry of Health. Health workers act as registration agents for births, whether they occur in hospitals or health facilities or at home, with data often captured at maternal and child health clinics. This integrated approach has enhanced both coverage and quality of our registration systems. Again, through automation, registration information will be captured electronically and submitted in real time to our central database, where, upon processing and approval, applicants will be able to get birth certificates and death certificates without any delays. It will be possible, for example, for a mother to give birth in hospital and be able to access their baby's birth certificate even before or upon discharge from the hospital. I am happy to inform you that the government has already developed an electronic birth notification module which was successfully piloted in 9 of our health facilities in Nairobi and is just about to be rolled out in all other health facilities in the country. The government is equally in the process of developing the or electronic death notification module, which is expected to be ready by December 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, having this end-to-end automated system will not only ensure effective and efficient service delivery, but will also ensure that data critical for planning and policy decision-making is available in real time for effective interventions. I therefore take this opportunity to invite you all to learn from Kenya's experience during this symposium, and just as importantly, to share your own lessons and innovations. This is a collective effort, and we believe that mutual learning is key to strengthening civil registration and vital statistics system that truly serve all people. I believe this forum is also critical to our donor agencies and development partners, where issues of resource mobilization, sharing, and assistance can be discussed to ensure that deserving countries get the much needed assistance for the development of more robust and inclusive civil registration and vital statistics system. Ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity to thank you once again for joining us in this journey to strengthen civil registration systems through a gender lens, and we look forward to our fruitful dialogue that will culminate into appropriate strategies to promote gender-responsive civil registration systems globally. With these few remarks, let me declare the 4th Global Civil Registration and Vital Statistics System and Gender Symposium officially opened. Thank you so much. and God bless you.
Thank you so much. I think you can do much better on that applause. Please let us have a big round of applause. I really want to thank all the speakers in this opening session this morning. It has really set the stage very well for what we're going to discuss over the next 3 days. To summarize, I want to say that I think civil registration and vital statistics systems, or CRVS, is probably one of the smartest investments any government can make. And it really gives every person a legal identity from birth to death, and it makes it possible for governments to plan for education, healthcare, social protection, while the trust of the citizens is enhanced. So what we are about to discuss over the next 3 days is something very, very important. I am so happy you all came. I'm so happy that the government of Kenya, and again, big thanks to the Secretary. And I would like to extend also a special thanks through you, Secretary, to Dr. Bello Kipsang, the Principal Secretary for the Department of Immigration and Citizen Services in the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, who has been a staunch champion and taken leadership to make sure that this important conference would be held here in Nairobi in Kenya. So with these few words, I want to thank you also from UNFPA Kenya for the role that we have taken in this. We promise you that we will continue to lead from the front on the continent of Africa and implement whatever great ideas you come up with today. It's my pleasure to now hand over to our moderator, Charity, back to you. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Anders Thompson, for that amazing moderation for the opening remarks. And let's take a moment to appreciate Dr. Stephen Jackson, His Excellency Joshua Taba, and Ms. Julia Bantin, as well as Mr. Paul Mwangemi for their opening remarks. Great. So without much further ado, we are going to kindly request our VIP guests and panelists to proceed to the photo area just outside the main entrance, as you saw on your right. And we have our team from Billion Events who is going to guide you even as you go for that group photo. So as they walk out, let's kindly appreciate them as they go ahead and take the group photo. So this morning you had the honor of hearing from even the government, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, and through that address, the ministry has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening Kenya's civil registration systems, ensuring that every Kenyan is recognized, protected, and counted, and to advancing the shared vision of inclusion, equality, and human dignity for all. So one quick moment, even as we are going to take a few minutes, we are going to also have the media interviews with the dignitaries. The media team, we kindly request you to hold the media interviews so that the photo happens and then you can proceed with the media interviews. In the meantime, as you wait for them, I'll kindly request all of us to arise on our feet, and I'm going to give you a quick icebreaker activity that will keep you busy, and then once they resume, we'll pick up from the panel discussion. So let's kindly stand on our feet. And so I want you to look around, scan the room. Please make sure that you're not talking to somebody that you came with, somebody that you work with. Make sure that you're speaking to somebody new. And the question is, you're going to introduce yourself, and immediately after introducing yourself, you're going to answer this question. If you could instantly solve one global challenge today without any barriers whatsoever, which problem would that be and why? We are going to give you exactly 5 minutes. I'll also hand it over to media to play a bit of background music as we have that conversation. Please go. Move. All right.